Okay. Got me going? Alright. Know what happens when you stand in God's presence. It rubs off. Okay, end of story. See you later. No, I'm kidding. My eyeball's itching. Okay. Several cases in the Bible. What is that? People were allowed to stand in the presence of the Lord. And Moses, one in particular, is the one I think about. He was with the Lord for 80 plus days and a couple different times. And the Bible says he came down the mountain and he was in the presence of the people, and the people were afraid because the skin of his face shone. Moses was unaware of what was going on at first. So the Bible said he covered his face with a veil so that the people wouldn't be afraid. And then after a while, the glory of the Lord sort of wore off of him, and he still covered his face, but more than likely so that people couldn't see that it was worn off. So I heard one preacher say, now it might be in the Bible that that's why he did it, but I'm not totally sure. I didn't study it that close, but I know that that kind of thing happened, and all the detail of what I told you is in the Bible. Okay, so, and I was trying to find in the Bible where this one particular instance where this angel came down and it talked to, I think it was Abraham he talked to, and Abraham didn't believe him, or maybe that was John. It was John the Baptist. That's who it was. And John didn't really believe him, and not John the Baptist. John the Baptist's dad. That's who that it was. And I can't remember what his name was. He was a priest. But he said, the angel told him, says, you'll be dumb and not speak because I am this particular angel that stands in the presence of God. And I often wondered why he punished him because he didn't believe him, because, you know, I mean, how was he supposed to know he was such and such an angel sitting in the presence of God? But, now listen, you got to remember what happens when you stand in the presence of God. It rubs off. So, and I got to thinking about that. Well, here's this angel that was in God's presence. More than likely, same thing happened to him that happened to Moses. You know, God rubs off, and the angel was lit up like a light bulb. You know, here someone is talking to you. He's lit up like a light bulb, and you're not believing that this came from God, you know. So, and I guess that's why he was upset. But there's another aspect of God that rubs off that's just as good as that one. Standing in the presence of God. When you go to church, you're around a different spirit, and you're in a company of people that likes to be good. Instead of like going to the bar, you're in the company of people that likes to be obnoxious, drinking and that type. You know, that stuff rubs off on you too, by the way. You know, I like what Chuck Swindoll said. He said if you put a white glove in the mud, take it, put it on your hand, stick your hand right down in the mud. He said the glove always gets muddy. The mud never gets glovey. You know, that's the way he put it. The glove never rubs off on the mud. The mud always rubs off on the glove. because it's the cardinal nature of men, and he was emphasizing this to show how sin rubs off on people. And it's exactly like that. The cardinal nature of man takes to sin like a magnet does to metal. You know what I mean? And it just rubs off. You know, the birds of a feather flock together. That means that those things that are alike will hang around together with one. Drunks like to be with drunks, alcoholics, and druggies like to be with druggies. Christians like to be with Christians. Sinners like to be, and prostitutes. They hang down the same part of town. They know where to get the business. They like to be around people like them. And the men that like those kind of women, they go to that part of town to meet up with them. So, but you go to church, and this fellow came in to work with me, and where I work at. He's a truck driver, and he was telling me he just went back to church a little while ago. He said he didn't really say how long it had been. He talked like it had been a few weeks or so. And we were talking about praying, and he asked me, does prayer work? And I said, of course it does. I said, I've been going to church 30 plus years, 35, 37, something like that. Off again, on again sometime, and I'm not perfect. Sometimes we'll stop going to church, and thank the Lord it's not very long periods of time that we do that, but I've done it enough to know this. Life works better when God is in it. When you allow God to rub off onto you, get His Spirit in there, causes you to walk a path that is good for you. It's good for you. God rubs off, and it shows. And it shows. That's how come I make videos that I don't get a lot of views, but I'm not trying to please men, because I'm pleasing the Lord. So if you want to get a spirit in you to stick things out and look at what somebody else wants out of you rather than what you want out of somebody else, which is a good godly spirit. And the Lord will make these videos popular whenever He decides. It's up to Him, Lord directed me to do it. I'm leaving it in His hands. And therefore, be of a good godly nature. Alright, God bless. Join me again next time, right here, Crossing the Middle Ministry, for another great subject. Get it.